What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew First Culture podcast. Thank you so very much for spending some time with me today. My name is Jeremy, and as always, very, very much appreciate that time, and I want to honor that time and hopefully continue to get you to click on these episodes because I'm giving you something worth value, but we'll just get into it. And today's going to be a short episode. It's really not much as far as topics and value. I would say it's more of an update and a teaser of things to come. But still, for those that are watching on YouTube, you're probably wondering if I've retired. I've got a full retirement mode beard going. I haven't been on shift in almost 2 full weeks. We took a week-long vacation in Gulf Shores, and so I basically took an entire tour off for that, which was really nice. Enjoyed it with the whole family. Well, most of the family. When you have 7 kids, and some of those kids have moved out and now have significant others, and it's very hard to nail down everybody for even just a night out to eat. But when you're talking about an entire week, 13 hours away on vacation, it's a pretty difficult task. So definitely bummed that there were a few kids that didn't make it, but really, really enjoyed that time with my wife and with the kids that were there. It was a great time. Loved it, except for the 13-hour drive home. We split up the drive there, stopped in Memphis, and had a great time. We sat down at a blues bar, which my wife and my daughter absolutely love. Our youngest daughter loves blues, and I'm a pretty big fan as well. And so, man, that was an awesome time, just sitting there listening to some great music, and just the environment was awesome. And so that was a nice little breakup of that drive there. But coming home, it was just a straight shot, and I was supposed to work the next day, but we didn't get in till, I don't know, 11 o'clock. Seemed like maybe 10, 11 o'clock, and then I would have had to get up in 3 or 4 hours to drive almost 2 hours to work, and I had driven that entire 13 hours myself. So I was not in the physical frame to be doing that. So I took a day off to recover. But anyway, yes, full beard. I will be shaving tonight because I will be going back on shift tomorrow for the first time in a while. So don't tell my wife. Thinking about maybe leaving a mustache. We'll see. We'll see how it comes out. Bad thing is we have a big photo. I don't know what you want to call it. We're taking pictures tomorrow. My department's doing a yearbook almost sort of type thing, and our shift's pictures are tomorrow. And so little irritated at the timing because I know that the mustache is not photo quality yet, but we'll we'll see how much guts I have in the morning when I want to start tearing into it and see where that goes. Anyway, getting back into the things that actually matter. I've stepped away. I wouldn't say stepped away. I've definitely kind of had to adjust the podcasting for myself. I was very hard and heavy into it for quite a while, almost a solid year. I was pushing out uh, basically 2 episodes a week very regularly, and doing really good, and I enjoyed it. I truly did. I loved, especially, the conversations with some really, really great people, some really great men and women that I learned so much from, and who really have helped me grow a lot in that time. And so I'd absolutely do miss that part of it, miss that interaction that friendship and the bonds that I shared, and the friends that I have kind of met and grown from there. So very, very appreciative for that. I have missed that quite a bit, but it was truly taking a toll on me and my family as well. As much as I tried to balance it out. I tried to make it as family friendly and balance friendly as I possibly could. I stuck to recording on times that my family wasn't around, so it wasn't like I was just taking time away from them when I were here. And that's kind of the biggest justification I had for it. But just trying to keep my mind focused on episodes coming up and guests that I could talk to, and excuse me, questions that I could ask those guests. And it did dig into that family time. My mind, even though my body wasn't away while the family was home doing this podcasting stuff, my mind was. And I think that I can say that now. And there were lots of conversations with my wife about it. And I fought it pretty hard because of exactly what I said. I'm not doing this while the family's home. So I'm trying to do it respectfully and this and that. And so, she had some great points, and it finally just came down to it was almost like just an accident. I had an awesome episode that had lined up with some great guests, and for my 100th episode, and I was really looking forward to that, and it kind of fell through, and not anybody's fault if it just kind of happened. And I don't know, that being the case, it just kind of like sucked the drive out of me for some reason. I don't know why. And so I went for quite a while without doing anything. And of course, a little bit later, I got hooked up with Chief Solar and Professional Brotherhood, and we did our 100th podcast together, which was great. I'm glad we got to do that, and it was fun. But it was just interesting how kind of that domino fell, and it started a whole another line of dominoes. But to be fair, there was so many things going on for me. I had started catching the bug of being interested in public speaking, and speaking at conferences and things like that. And so that's a big time suck right there. That, however you want to call it, that's probably not the best way to label it, but there's a lot of time involvement in things like that. The preparation of classes, and putting out bids and proposals for these conferences, and just everything, and money involved in doing it. And so I knew that adding something like that was going to cause a ripple effect, and it had to, because if I didn't change anything, but I wanted to add something, it was going to be a bad thing. And so I had to figure out if that's really something I wanted to do. If it was, and I knew it was, I could feel it. If that was something I wanted to do, I was going to have to start that readjustment process of my balance again. Start to look at things that could be cut back or cut out. And so the time just kind of fell into place with each other. The two things kind of started happening together. And I had a couple big presentations around that same time that I needed to work on, and I needed to prepare for. And so, another aspect of that is my mind. I feel like my mind can only handle so many slots. Before I started doing the podcasting, I was writing, and that was kind of how I was getting things out. And man, I was writing all the time. It was just like I couldn't stop writing. once I started the podcast, I don't know that I've hardly written anything since. It was just like, okay, this channel is opened up and that other one just kind of dried out because everything is starting to flow out of this other channel. And so for me, almost the same thing kind of happened with the podcasting as far as once speaking came into place, because I had to start channeling a lot of my mental focus and my firefighting drive and passion and all that. I had to focus that towards those presentations so I could create something that I would be proud of and that I would feel is worthy of people's time and effort and money and all that. And so that channel opened up, and it was kind of like that podcasting channel almost dried up too. And so that's kind of led me to where I have been here lately. And so it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing. I'll take that back. It is a very good thing, because I feel like anybody that is on the journey, kind of like I am on a journey, you're searching for growth, you're pursuing that daily growth, you're trying to challenge yourself, you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, you're continuing to look for what's next, what door is going to be opening next. And when you're doing that, that means that other doors have to close, or not necessarily close, but that means you have to put other things kind of maybe on the back burner. And so that is something that you have to decide. And it is a continuing process of just evaluating and reevaluating and over again, because you only have so much time. You only have so much money. You only have so much focus. You only have so much energy to put into life. And hopefully we are putting a lot of that into our family. And then if that's the case, hopefully, then you only have so much to put into everything else, put into work, put into friends, put into hobbies, put into, outside training, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to add as far as those categories. But we only have so much. And so when these doors start opening, we have to start reevaluating where those things go, our time, money, effort, energy, focus. We have to start reevaluating, because we were probably maxed out when that door opened, which means we've got to take something away from somewhere and put it into that new door, or we're not going to have anything to give. And so that's where that reevaluating comes in. Is this new door, is it something that is worth my time? Is it something that is worth my focus? Is it something I am going to enjoy? Is it something that's going to add value to people's life? And so, that's kind of where I've been, is just constantly evaluating and reevaluating what's going on. And I feel like one of the reasons I have been so blessed and I've had so many great opportunities here over the past couple of years is that luckily I've been able to keep my eyes open. I've been looking for those other opportunities. I've been trying to take advantage of things that come up. I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to be able to take advantage of some great opportunities that came my way, to which have just caused a chain reaction to allow more opportunities. But that is a lesson I want to share really quick with you all, is it doesn't go both ways. If you shut out new opportunities, if you are closed-minded to things because they aren't your comfort zone, if they aren't something that you're just super excited about, if it's something that is outside of your norm or your personality, so you just kind of turn away from it, You never know how many opportunities down the line you are missing out on just because you didn't take advantage of that one. And I will very, very strongly say that I will I would have not have had any of these opportunities if I didn't push myself outside of the comfort zone. If I didn't get myself in the mindset of being uncomfortable is where I need to be, that I wouldn't have any of these opportunities that I've had. And so that has been a huge, huge lesson and just a blessing that I've been able to do that. And so I do want to share that. If you are somebody that is starting to kind of think about putting themselves out there, if you're starting to think about creating a social page or starting to think about writing articles or starting a podcast or whatever it is, what just starting to instruct as a trainer, if that is something you're thinking about, that means that there's probably something inside of you pushing you to do it. And you've got to do it. You've got to do it. For one, if you don't, it's going to drive you crazy until you do. Because if that's the case and that's inside you, you have a passion for that. And so if you aren't following those passions, they're going to start eating away at you. And so you got to start finding ways to start searching for that, pursue those passions, because there's so many people out there that you can be helping. So we don't want to turn our back to that. We want to take advantage of those things because those are the reasons we are here. Those are the things that we have been put here to do. And so we've got to face those passions and those messages, that the life situations that we have been through, the challenges that we have faced, the challenges that we have overcome, all of these things, the stuff that is who we are. We can't go through them and then just keep it to ourselves. We've got to share these things because that is the reason we are here. And so anyway, yeah, a little rabbit hole there, but that's exactly where I've been and kind of the process I've been going through. And like I've stated several times, man, I have always been deathly afraid of public speaking all of my life. That's not an exaggeration at all. And so for me to sit here and say that's who I have always been, but I am now somebody who can't wait for that next opportunity to speak in front of people, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And again, I've said it over and over again on here, but to even host a podcast, to even put my voice out there and share a message and my opinions and my passions and my drive and hopefully some positivity and everything else, to even do that has always been such a just way, way out of left field for me. But I did it. I allowed myself to be uncomfortable so that other opportunities will arrive, so that I hopefully will have some type of positive impact on somebody, so that I hopefully can say something that adds value to somebody's life. And so that has been a huge, huge blessing for me to be able to be okay with being uncomfortable. I know when I started this out that I knew my biggest struggle would be to not sound like the dry eyes guy, super dry and dull and boring. I knew that I had to find a way to tap in to some energy, to push out some energy through my voice, or nobody wants to hear it. And I knew that. I knew that would be one of my biggest challenges. And so I can't tell you how many times I recorded and stopped and recorded and stopped and recorded and stopped over the first, shoot, I don't know, 20, 30 episodes, just because I knew that I would not want to listen to myself. And not that that's changed right now. I can't listen to myself still, but I feel like I have become comfortable enough doing this that I can, I'm trying to think of the right word here. I'm not the best at the vocab, but I feel like I can portray the passion. I know that's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. I feel like I can pass on the passion that I truly have about the message I'm saying through my voice, because that's all I have on the podcast. And so I finally feel like I can at least dip into some of that and make it somewhat listenable. I'm not saying I am an enjoyable speaker. I'm not a Jocko who has a voice that just makes you want to be, you know, the best that you can be just by listening to a couple sentences. But I feel like I'm starting to be comfortable enough in this role, in this position, that I can start pushing some of that through and learning how to use that. And so if I would have never stepped up and put myself in a position that I knew I was not prepared for, that I knew my personality was not cut out for, if I had never done that, I wouldn't be here. And if I would have never done that, I wouldn't have the opportunity to be speaking. And if I didn't have the opportunity to speak, then I would have never known that it was something that I enjoy. And if I would have never done that, then I've spoken at two conferences here over the past couple months. The first one, I don't know attendance wise. I heard several people say 60 to 80 people were there for that one. This last one, I believe there was around 50 people in the class. And so you're talking about 110 to 130 people already that I had the opportunity to reach. Did I reach everybody? No, absolutely not. I'm not trying to say that. But I had the opportunity to reach those 100+ people because I pushed myself to start a podcast because I felt like that was something I needed to do. I can't explain it. I don't know why. It wasn't something I have ever even thought about doing. But I kind of found myself on another podcast, a couple other podcasts, and I just really enjoyed it. And that started a bug inside me of saying, this is something you need to be doing. And so I tried it. And all of this is just to say that you've got to follow those feelings that you get, those urges that you get, the push that you feel inside. That is pushing us to our mission. That is pushing us to the reason we are here. And so if we're ignoring those, we're we're not helping ourselves for sure, but you're dang sure not helping anybody else. And I feel like that's what we all should be doing. We all should be trying to find those things that we're meant to do, the purposes that we have been put here for, and try to use those in the best way we can to help as many people as we possibly can. And so anyway, I never intended to go that far into all that, but just to give you a little kind of an idea of where I've been and the mindset that I've been through, because it is amazing just in the past year how many new fire related podcasts have come out. And some of them don't last very long. Some of them kind of are a little slow going. Some of them have just taken off like crazy, and that's awesome. I want to do everything I can to help all of them, because that was me. That was me that didn't know anything about it, but felt like I wanted to start, that I wanted to do it. So why wouldn't I be as much of a help to any of them as I can. And so I want to really to do what I can to keep that going. But that's it's just interesting because these people are doing the same thing I'm doing. They are searching for ways to help others. They are trying to make the fire service better, and that's awesome. And I can't say enough of how many great people there are in the fire service. And so, that being the case, it just keep your eyes open. Like I said, you're here for a reason, and it's not just to sit around and make it to the next day. If you're going through hard times, I understand. I promise you, I have been through some hard times. I truly have. But this is a thought I had on my way home. I feel like you're in two categories. You're sharing your testimony or you're building your testimony. And what I mean by building your testimony is you're going through some stuff. You're making bad choices, you're making good choices, but you're suffering the consequences of other people's bad choices. You're in, a situation where bad things are happening. It doesn't matter if it's your fault or somebody else's fault. But if you're struggling through life right now, it just means you're building that testimony up for when you overcome those things and then you share it. And not that you have to wait to overcome it. You can share that testimony anytime. You can be in the middle of the biggest fight of your life, and sharing that testimony will help others, and it will help you because you'll learn that there are others out there dealing with the same thing that they can help you through. And so we're either sharing that testimony or we're building it up. And just because things aren't great, just because life isn't perfect, just because times are hard and every day sucks right now, doesn't mean that there aren't better days coming. Doesn't mean that there aren't lots of people out there that can both help you through those testimonies or that you can help through those testimonies. And so we just got to keep pushing forward, keep pushing for that better day, because it is there. And I promise you, you can make it. There are so many people out there wanting to help, wanting to make people better, wanting to be whatever they can be to make this world better. And so I hope that that is who you are as well. So again, it's really a rabbit hole that I had no plan on going down. I was really just kind of planning on teasing a few things coming up. But I did, once I got into that, I felt like there are a lot of things that I wanted to share there. So anyway, coming up, I just talked about a lot of new podcasts coming up. One of them is with a good dude named Christopher Snow, and it's the Rogue Tailboarder. And so he has asked me to be a guest on that. So we'll be recording that early next week, and I'm excited. I love being a guest on podcasts, probably even more than hosting podcasts, because I'm not concerned with keeping the flow going or time or anything like that. I'm just kind of being a part of the conversation. So I really enjoy. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think we both share a lot of the same just message and same values and everything else. And so I'm super excited about that. And I'll kind of put something out as soon as that episode is out to share it with as many as we can and get him some more views and more listens as well. But he puts out some great things over Instagram and Facebook and so some great posts, and kind of learning his way through the early stages of podcasting himself. And so it's going to be a great time. Looking forward to that. So that got that coming up. And as well, I will try to kind of get on here every once in a while with some Crew First Culture podcast, but it'll probably just be me as far as the Crew First Culture uh brand podcast, if you want to call it that, because kind of what I have coming and what I have in my mind is going to be more geared to having guests on under the flag of the undership or the underground leadership movement. And for those of you that haven't heard about that, that's something I started a little while back, and have 5 or 6 kind of episodes for it. But it's just it's just kind of something that has been put on me that I feel like that's the direction I want to go. That's the direction I need to be going. Teaching the things that I have learned, telling the lessons have went through, the mistakes I've made, the failures I've had as a formal leader, an informal leader, and helping the fire service get better one leader at a time from the ground up. And truly what it is, if you haven't heard me say it, it is me saying that I no longer am waiting on somebody else to develop me as a leader. I'm no longer putting that power in anybody else's hands. It is mine. That power to develop myself as a leader is my responsibility, and I am taking it over. I will do what I need to do to make myself better as a leader. I'm not waiting on policies to come out. I'm not waiting on formal programs through my department to come out. I'm not waiting on acceptable training to come around. I am searching it out myself, and I am doing what I need to do to become a better leader. And as I'm doing that, I am also going to be sharing everything that I have learned, every lesson that I have went through, and every ounce of growth that I have made, every failure that I have made. I will be sharing those as well in order to help others take on that responsibility for themselves. And so that is, in a quick nutshell, what the underground leadership movement is. And so that being said, I've got a few episodes already lined up, and hopefully I'm going to kind of try to get at least 2 other people on with me every time and really dig into certain topics. And yeah, it's going to be similar to what I've done in the past, but I feel like a lot of the past has been, more of a kind of interview type situation. You've got guests on, you interview them, and this and that, and those are great. That's great stuff. And I might still do some of that on the True First Culture podcast. But as far as this underground leadership movement goes, I want these conversations to be focused on making us better and enjoying our time. They're going to be great, fun conversations because these are with great, fun men and women of the fire service. And so they're going to be enjoyable conversations, but we're going to grow an incredible amount through them. I promise you that. I guarantee you I will. That's for sure. And so I'll be recording the first one on Thursday. I'm going to leave that as a little teaser. I'm going to leave the guest out. But I will say that we are going to be talking about and digging in deep into the importance of teaching as a leader. How important it is if you're a leader, either informal or formal, it doesn't matter. It is so vital to be a teacher in that role. And so I think that is a huge area that the fire service needs to grow in. We've got to be better in that area. And so really excited to see where that conversation goes. Really excited to connect with my 2 guests for that conversation. So a couple of guys that I've gotten to know and have really enjoyed the relationship with. And so it's going to be a great time. Please look for that, and please share as much as you can when it comes out, because I know it's going to be great. So anyway, I think that's about it. I've taken way more time of yours up than would have ever imagined that I would have today, but I appreciate you hanging in there. Thank you so much for being there with me through this slower period. I hope to kind of start walking myself back into a little bit more posting and things like that. But I appreciate you standing by me, supporting me. Any and all of you who have sent me messages and texts, just kind of watching out for me and checking on me and having my back and telling me the good things that are going on because of what you've heard on here. I cannot tell you thank you enough, and I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. So thank you very much. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I can't wait to share more content with you all and look forward to that. So until next time, stay humble and do work.